Hello and welcome to Sentinel Skills. We will be talking about training the security workforce in this video. We will be discussing threat assessment and response in the series of training of security workforce. Threat assessment and response is a critical process that helps organizations identify, evaluate, and manage potential threats to their people, assets, and operations. This process involves a comprehensive analysis of information from various sources, including internal and external data, to determine the likelihood and severity of a threat. Based on this evaluation, organizations can develop and implement effective response strategies to mitigate the impact of any potential threat. The threat assessment and response process typically involves several steps. The first step is to identify potential threats and assess their likelihood and severity. This may involve analyzing data from security cameras, social media, or other sources. The second step is to evaluate the potential impact of the threat and determine the appropriate response. This may involve implementing security measures, evacuating the area, or calling law enforcement. The third step is to monitor the situation and adjust the response as needed to ensure that the threat is effectively managed. Effective threat assessment and response requires a coordinated effort between various stakeholders, including security personnel, law enforcement, and other relevant parties. Organizations must also ensure that they have the necessary resources and processes in place to support the threat assessment and response process. By taking a proactive approach to threat management, organizations can reduce the likelihood and impact of potential threats and ensure the safety and security of their people and assets. Assessing potential threats. Assessing potential threats is a crucial first step in this process, as it helps to identify the likelihood and severity of a potential threat. This assessment involves analyzing information about the potential threat, including the individual or group involved, their motivation, and their access to weapons or other resources. One key aspect of assessing potential threats is understanding the behavior and mindset of the potential threat actor. This involves analyzing their previous behavior, identifying any warning signs or red flags, and evaluating their potential for violence. It is important to consider factors like their mental health, history of violence, and access to weapons. Additionally, assessing potential threats requires looking at the context of the situation, such as the location, time of day, and presence of other individuals who may be at risk. Overall, assessing potential threats requires a multidisciplinary approach that involves input from law enforcement, mental health professionals, and other relevant experts. The goal is to identify potential threats early on and take measures to prevent them from escalating into violent incidents. De-escalation techniques. De-escalation refers to the act of reducing tension and avoiding violence in situations where conflict or aggression is possible, often through verbal communication and conflict resolution strategies. Effective de-escalation techniques can include active listening, empathizing with the individual, and providing reassurance that their concerns are being heard and addressed. Other important strategies include maintaining a calm and non-threatening demeanor, using non-confrontational language, and avoiding physical contact unless absolutely necessary. De-escalation techniques can be taught and practiced in a variety of settings, including workplaces, schools, and other public settings. By demonstrating a willingness to listen and address concerns, de-escalation techniques can help to establish a sense of safety and security, which can be essential in preventing further escalation of potentially dangerous situations. Emergency preparedness. Emergency preparedness refers to the process of planning and preparing for potential emergency situations, such as natural disasters, terrorist attacks, or other incidents that may disrupt normal operations and put people at risk. Emergency preparedness involves identifying potential risks and hazards and developing plans to mitigate those risks. This may include creating evacuation plans, establishing communication protocols, and training employees or community members on emergency procedures. Emergency preparedness also involves maintaining emergency supplies, such as food, water, medical supplies, and other essential items, as well as having access to emergency services, such as police and ambulance services. Effective emergency preparedness requires collaboration and cooperation between different organizations and agencies. This may include working with local law enforcement, fire departments, and emergency medical services to develop coordinated response plans. It is essential that all parties are familiar with emergency procedures and communication protocols. Response to potential threats. Response to potential threats focuses on the steps that individuals and organizations can take to protect themselves from harm and respond effectively to potential threats. One key aspect of response to potential threats is preparation. This includes developing emergency plans and procedures, training staff and personnel on how to respond to threats, and practicing drills and simulations to ensure that everyone knows what to do in the event of an actual emergency. It is also important to have clear communication channels in place, so that individuals can quickly and easily report potential threats and receive timely updates on the situation. Another important element of response to potential threats is risk management. This involves identifying potential threats and taking steps to mitigate those risks, such as installing security measures, increasing surveillance, and establishing access controls. It may also involve working with law enforcement and other authorities to monitor potential threats and take action to prevent harm. By taking a proactive approach to risk management, organizations can reduce the likelihood of a potential threat escalating into a more serious incident. We will be discussing security technology and tools in series of training of the security workforce in our next video. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.